Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this limited series, I'll be sharing 5 stories of mystery, the occult, and terror. The stories I'll tell are ones I've heard personally, and they've stayed with me for all my life. For reasons of privacy and storytelling, I've decided to change the names and rewrite the stories to present them to you in a more accurate and engaging way. So grab a cup of tea, subscribe to my channel, and let's make this October week even more spooky. Horror story from Grindr. This story was sent to me in my inbox, and it is told in a first-person perspective. A year ago, my friend broke up with her boyfriend after 5 years of being together. He had cheated on her and she was shattered. She stopped leaving the house and didn't want to see anyone. It broke my heart to see her like that, so I decided to do something to help her. Since she and her ex worked at the same company and saw each other every day, I suggested she take a week off. "Let's get away," I said, "so you can distract yourself a bit." She liked the idea. She told me that she had the keys to a family house, a house by the sea, perfect for isolating ourselves and disconnecting from everything. Even though it was December and the seaside houses were empty and desolate, we thought a quiet refuge was just what we needed. I imagined cozy nights in front of Netflix with face masks on and a glass of wine in hand. We really needed that getaway. We left with my car, leaving the city chaos behind. Before arriving at the house, we stopped at a supermarket to stock up food, sweets, chips, and of course, alcohol to brighten our evenings. The houses were about 2 kilometers from the supermarket in a completely isolated area. At the entrance gate, there was an old man who seemed to know my friend from long time ago. "How much you've grown," he said to her, with a smile that was a bit too wide. We drove into this small complex. There were about 20 tiny houses, each painted in different colors. The atmosphere was surreal, almost frozen in time. At the end was a bar, which was obviously closed and only opened in the summer. On the other side stretched a desert beach and the sea that was gray and choppy. We finally arrived at the orange house. We parked and walked through a garden of now bare rose bushes, reduced to thorny shrubs. We entered the house. It was cozy, with a small living room and a kitchen. Upstairs were 2 bedrooms and a balcony overlooking the garden, the road, and the endless horizon of the sea. That afternoon, we laid on the beach with a blanket, watching the sunset swallowed by black clouds. It was bitterly cold, but the view was breathtaking. In the evening, we watched a movie, and, as usual, my friend fell asleep next to me. It always made me smile to see how she could fall asleep at any moment. As I was about to turn off the TV, I received a notification from Grindr. I hadn't used the app in a while, but apparently, having opened the location, Grindr had woken up. It was a man in his 40s sending me a simple hello, with a photo of his body, but not his face. I asked to see his face, but he replied that he preferred to maintain his privacy. His tattoo, faded and poorly done on his right hand, struck me strangely. It looked like an old prison tattoo. When I asked him about it, he confirmed it. He had gotten it in prison, and then sent me an emoji with his tongue sticking out, implying it was just an innocent joke. He already gave me a strange, unsettling feeling. I told him I wasn't interested and that, in any case, we were too far apart. But he kept going, sending me another picture. This time, I could see his naked body lying on a filthy bed in a bare room. The walls were dull and blue with no decorations, And next to the bed, there was a wobbly nightstand with an overflowing ashtray. A desolate image, and every fiber of my being told me to end that conversation. And I did. His response, though, surprised me. He repeatedly apologized, trying to justify his behavior by saying he was too horny. I decided to end the conversation there without adding anything else. The next day, we realized that we had forgotten to buy toilet paper, so we returned to the supermarket. It seemed like a small, innocent distraction, but when we got back, I received a new message on Grindr. It was him again. This time, the text was simple but eerie. "So you do have a car?" A chill paralyzed me. How the hell did he know? I felt the blood freeze in my veins. With trembling hands, I took out my phone and blocked him immediately. I thought it was over, but 5 minutes later, a new notification lit up the screen. Another profile, still him. "Sorry to bother you again. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. It's just that I saw you going to the supermarket and I was in the bar in front of it." At that moment, panic gripped me. He had seen us. He was somewhere out there. He had watched every move we made without us realizing. My hands were sweating as I texted back without thinking, saying that the car wasn't mine, but my friend's. I tried to justify myself, as if it could calm the growing anxiety. His response came quickly, simple and sinister. "Have fun." That short, cold phrase gave me a clear sense that we shouldn't stay there. My heart was pounding in my throat. I couldn't get his presence out of my mind. That evening, while the cold wind made the shutters crack and the sound of waves crashed against the desert coast, my phone vibrated again. A message on Grindr. "Good evening." My heart stopped for a moment when I read the words, but what froze my blood was seeing the distance indicated by the app. 50 meters. He was very close. He was here. I rushed to my friend, terror clouding my mind. I told her everything. As we frantically gathered our things, not knowing exactly what to do, the only idea we had was to run away. We bolted out, but as soon as we reached the car, a blow to the chest. All the tires were slashed. Panic was suffocating us. We were trapped. We ran back, stumbling, with our breath coming out in ragged gasps. Every shadow around seemed to come to life, and the silence of the area had become oppressive, broken only by the deafening sounds of our footsteps. Once inside, we barricaded every door, turning off all the lights. Darkness enveloped us, but it gave no relief. We knew he was outside. I checked Grindr again with trembling hands, hoping to see something different, but what appeared on the screen paralyzed me. 10 meters. He was right there, practically in front of the house. My breath caught in my throat when another message came in. "Going to bed so early?" The text was followed by a photo that froze every fiber of my body. It was our house. He was watching us. Somewhere in the darkness, he was observing every movement we made. Panic exploded inside of us. My heart was beating so loudly it almost drowned out the sounds around us. We locked ourselves in one of the bedrooms, barricading the door with everything we found: chairs, furniture, anything that could keep him away. My friend, almost suffocated by anxiety, called the police, desperately lying that the man was already inside the house. She hoped that the lie would make them arrive faster. Every second felt like an eternity. The shadows seemed to move, and every crack of the house made us jump. Then, finally, in the pitch-black darkness, the police sirens pierced the silence like a desperate scream. As soon as we heard them, the Grindr profile disappeared, along with all the conversation, as if he had never existed. He blocked me. But the real horror came when the police discovered what we had feared. The back door had been forced. He truly tried to break in. If they haven't arrived in time, I don't even want to imagine what would have happened. We immediately reported the incident to the police, but we faced a distressing difficulty. We had no screenshots. All the conversation with that man had vanished into thin air, erased along with his profile as if they never existed. There were no evidence, no messages, no profiles, no images. That man seemed to have dissolved in the moment that he hit block, as if he had never been real. Their cold and bureaucratic words echoed in my head. We'll do what we can, but without evidence, it's difficult to proceed. Their voices faded as we desperately tried to make them understand how dangerous that man was. And a month later, I saw his face on the news for the first time. I knew it was him because I recognized that awful tattoo on his hand. He had been caught. A man in his 40s, arrested for luring a guy on Grindr. He had gone to the victim's house and raped and killed him and his roommate. Since that day, I haven't trusted dating apps. I always follow my instincts because I've learned they never lie. And that night will never stop hunting me. What do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon for another evening of mystery, the occult, and terror.